We're going to take a quick break from music and discuss one of the biggest sporting events of the year, the Super Bowl.
Featuring the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Deflatriots. I'm a biased Colts fan, so the whole Deflategate scenario is something that piques my interest. What do you think?
Yeah. You know, I don't really know I can't really take a side on the issue because it's just like, I mean, the game's over. I mean, they did beat the Colts pretty bad, so
Yeah.
I don't want to like burst your bubble or anything. So I don't know if it's that big of an issue. Maybe if it was like, like a touchdown pass to win the game or something. But I mean, still, they are pushing the boundaries a little bit.
I understand that the Colts and Patriots game was not very close. I don't know if the possibly deflated footballs was the issue in our loss, but as a Colts fan, the Patriots have beaten us every year in the playoffs. Not every year, but especially when we get close to the Super Bowl and it comes to that AFC championship, the Patriots just seem to be our kryptonite. And now with the Seahawks with their defense, it might be time for the Patriots to lose.
That is true. That is true. You know, after watching what the Seahawks did last week, I just don't know though. It's going to be a really good game. I love seeing high scoring games. Don't get me wrong, but there's just nothing better than defensive football in my opinion. As I grew up, I played defense, and I just love watching a good defensive team take over. So
that's where I think the Seahawks might get the win in this game, because one problem with the Colts when they played was their run defense was their Achilles heel. And of course, the objective is to shut down Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, but the Patriots can sneak in that running game with
that is true.
People getting caught off guard on defense.
Mm-hmm. They do have a good running game. That is the most overlooked part about the Patriots, in my opinion.
And with Coach Bill Belichick, you never know what he's going to pull out of his sleeve. He always has a way around defenses, no matter what the team.
Yeah, that is true. He is a crafty, great coach.
And with him and Tom Brady and their legacy, I wonder what's going to happen in the next couple of seasons. If they keep being successful, does that mean they're going to end their careers, or will they keep trying to win over and over together?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we really have no idea how that's going to turn out, but I bet, Tom just seems like one of those players that he's going to play till he hurts the team. I feel like, I'd love to see him go out on top just based off his story and, like getting drafted in the 6th round. And it's just such a great success story and just like hard work ethic, I'd just love to see that.
And also, I don't think that either one of those guys, even if they win the Super Bowl this year, I don't think they want to go out with that publicity stain of this Deflategate on their resume. That might not be the last season they want to end on for their career.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't see them stepping away anytime soon, knowing those two competitors.
But all right, either way, it's going to be a good game. We're going to play some more music now. Coming up is Fever by the Black Keys.
All right, y'all, we're back with some more sports talk. I would just like to bring up a score update. High Point just beat Liberty, conference rival, 72-53, with Wallace leading the way with 19 points, going 7 for 10 from the field.
And speaking of basketball, coming up in mid-February is the NBA All-Star Weekend. And the two big events of that weekend have to be the three-point contest and the dunk contest.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for this one. I usually don't get excited for All-Star games either, but the three-point contest this year is going to be a pretty amazing show.
Same with the dunk contest. This year, we have 4 young guys coming in. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak from the Milwaukee Bucks. Zach LaVine from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Victor Oladipo from the Orlando Magic. And Mason Plumlee from the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, and we all know Mason Plumlee can get up. He won the McDonald's All-American Slam Dunk Contest coming out of high school. But I think the underdog in this whole thing is LaVine. I think not a lot of people know what he can do.
He's not a big name in the NBA yet, but I think this is where he's going to break through and become a star, at least for his young age. He hasn't been playing well, but he can jump out of the gym. He's perfect for the dunk contest.
All right. Any predictions as far as the East or West in the All-Star game?
Last year, Kyrie Irving led the East with a comeback victory. And Kyrie Irving is hot after his last game, dropping 55 points.
Whew, that is true.
So I have to go with the East, even though the West has Stephen Curry and James Harden, two of the best players right now in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. We'll be back with some more sports talk here in a little bit throughout the hour. But right now we're going to hit it back to some music and coming your way in about a few seconds. All right, y'all. We're going to talk about some more sports.
Going to the NBA once again. Instead of the All-Star break, we're talking about playoffs that are coming up later in the year.
Yes, sir. Let's start off with the East here.
The East.
Right now we got Atlanta sitting at number 1, 38-8.
No one saw this coming. The Atlanta Hawks being the top team in the East when they're accompanied by the Chicago Bulls and LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. Besides them, we have Atlanta Hawks, number 1.
Uh-huh. And then shortly after, we got Toronto. 7 games back, though, in the number 2 seed. That's how good Atlanta's playing right now. But Toronto and Washington are neck and neck. They're both with 31 wins.
Now, Washington, I'm from the Philadelphia, Maryland, Delaware area. So those Northeast teams kind of have a special place in my heart. Washington Wizards, they have struggled for the past decade. And this year, they finally seem to have hit their stride.
That is true. John Wall and Bradley Beal are playing very well together right now. But then you got Toronto, a bunch of young guns too. And Gortat, who's always solid. But I really like DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan of the Toronto Raptors. Mm-hmm. He's been injury-plagued for the beginning part of the season, but he seems to be back now. And he's a big core part of their team, both on offense and defense.
Okay. All right, and we got the big dogs, Cleveland, sitting at 5 behind Chicago. What do you make of that? Like, do they have too much star power? Like, too much going on? What's the deal?
The beginning of the season definitely did not look pretty. LeBron wasn't playing his best basketball, and he didn't seem to fit well with the offensive dominance of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. But now, I think as the season's going on, they're getting used to each other now, and everyone seems to be playing very good basketball together on that team.
Mm-hmm. And we got Kyrie with a monster performance was it last night?
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago, 55 points.
That's incredible.
And the game winner too. Wow.
Kyrie Irving, I don't even think he's an all-star starter, which I'm a little bit opposed to that.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Now let's go to the West. The big dogs.
For real.
Starting with number 1, the Golden State Warriors.
Golden State, 36-7.
This team is ridiculous. Not too long ago, we saw Klay Thompson drop 37 in the third quarter alone. Klay Thompson.
Klay, he went, what was it, 13? No, it was 11 for 11.
From 3.
From 3. And for the third quarter alone, he was 100% from the field.
100% from the field and the free throw line. Klay Thompson has been the backbone of that team.
And not to mention the other splash brother, Steph Curry, also playing extremely well.
Both of these guys in the three-point competition for the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, that is going to be fun to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if Golden State brings home a title in that one. And then Memphis bringing up the 2 spot. Now, they're one of those teams that always fly under the radar for some reason.
They're definitely a sleeper in the West. They have the big man down low in Zach Randolph and the other Gasol brother.
Mm-hmm. Mark
Gasol. He could have an MVP argument in his favor.
Yeah, he reminds me, he's having a season a lot like Joakim Noah did last year, where he's doing a lot for his team. Assists, rebounds, blocks, points, you name it. He's got it in the column. And then moving to Portland with that young roster. I mean, I know you got Marcus Aldridge at power forward, but guard-wise, they are one dangerous team as well.
Former Rookie of the Year, Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. That man is a definition of clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Scoring, not so much defense, but sometimes you can let the big men handle the defense like LaMarcus and Robin Lopez.
That is true. And then you got the Clippers at 4th in the West, sitting at 32-14, 5 games back.
That's one of my favorite teams just because of one man, Blake Griffin. That dude can jump out the gym. He's a good ball handler, as we've seen a couple moments in his past games. Mm-hmm. For a big man, that's very dangerous.
That is true. And then right beside him, you got DeAndre Jordan, one of the most athletic centers I've ever seen.
For a 7-footer, how fast that guy can run and how high he can jump, it's scary.
Mm-hmm. They also have a former Blue Devil in the 3-point contest this year, J.J. Redick.
J.J. Redick. I don't even want to talk about this guy. You can go ahead and handle this part of the conversation.
Sorry, y'all. I'm a Duke fan, so I get excited about that. And then we got the Houston Rockets right behind the Clippers, sitting at the exact same record.
With an MVP candidate for this season, James Harden, the Beard.
Yeah, fear the Beard. That is for sure. He is tearing it up.
No doubt.
And
now, one guy, when we were talking about the Eastern teams that we forgot to mention, was Kyle Korver.
Kyle Korver, wow. How did we forget that name?
You know what? I feel bad for forgetting him earlier because this man is going for first time in NBA history 50-50-95. That means 50% from three, 50% from the field in general, and 95% from the free throw line.
And that is a rare category to be a part of. I think the last two were KD and Steve Nash that made that.
I remember KD getting the 50-40-90 club, but 50-50-95 will be an NBA first.
Yeah, that would be something to watch out for. And also, did you see he dunked for the first time since 2010?
And then he dunked the following game. People thought it was a fluke that it could never happen again. But Kyle Korver is rising on other teams.
And then next up, we have the steady Spurs sitting at 6th in the West, 30-17, 8 games back.
The reigning NBA champions. Now, it could just be what Greg Popovich does, rest his stars during the regular season because they're all aging on that team. And then once playoff time comes, that's when they really start to crank up the heat.
Yeah. Make no mistake, all they're trying to do is just make the playoffs. They have a plan. They don't care what their record is. They just want to be in the top 8 teams. They'll take on any team in the West. They're a very confident bunch. And when you have shooters like that team, 1 through 12 all contribute. That is a team you have to watch out for. You cannot overlook the San Antonio Spurs year after year.
Definitely. And now one other team in the West, that's another one of my favorites, the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh my. Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban, the owner, one of my favorite people in the world, and his team of Dirk Nowitzki, who is aging too, but he has a style of play where age isn't a factor. He shoots from long range, and he doesn't play too physical.
What'd you think about that midseason pickup with Rajon Rondo?
That was one of the biggest trades in recent memory.
Yeah, him and Monte Ellis have been playing really well together at the guard position.
They're both fast. They're both pass-first players, even though Monte is a great scorer. I think that's a great combo. And one thing that people need to recognize about Rajon Rondo is come playoff time, he is one of the most important players on your team. He led the Celtics to a couple solid victories against the Miami Heat in recent memory.
That is true. If they wouldn't have had LeBron, the Celtics would have probably been up there. Now we got something very surprising. At the 8th spot, we have Phoenix in front of New Orleans.
In front of New Orleans with Anthony Davis. So Phoenix has a lot of young, fast guards on their squad. And then some young big men as well.
Yeah, I think by the end of the season, the New Orleans Pelicans will be up there for sure. You just can't count out Anthony Davis and what he's been doing. But Phoenix, that is a good young group of players, and they play very well together. So
Phoenix got robbed last year from their 8th spot in the playoffs, but I think sadly the same thing will happen this year. I think Anthony Davis is in the running for MVP of the NBA this year, and he might bring his team to that 8th spot.
And then we got in the number 10 seed, we got Oklahoma City at 23-23. With both of those injuries against Westbrook and KD, I don't know what they're going to be able to do.
They had a rough start to the season, and that's really surprising that they're not in the playoff race as of yet. I think they're definitely going to go on a winning streak and work their way up there. So we might see a couple teams from the West falling out of the playoff race. But with Russell Westbrook, one of the best point guards in the league, and Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the world, it's tough to see the Oklahoma City Thunder not making the playoffs and making a run for the finals.
And this is something to take note of. It was more of a lopsided between conferences last year. But right now, if Oklahoma City was in the East, they'd have the 7th seed right in front of Miami with their 2 star players injured for most of the season.
That's one of the things that's interesting is how weak the East is because a lot of their teams in the playoffs towards the lower seeds, they have losing records when there's teams in the West with winning records that aren't in the playoff race. So I think as time goes on and these Eastern teams get high draft picks, their teams are just going to get stronger, and we'll eventually see the two conferences even out.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. I think give it a couple more seasons, some big draft picks, a lot of free agency moves coming up here in this offseason with Carmelo and Kevin Love. I think the tide could turn, and it could turn quick. It'll just be a matter of can the GMs of the East, put on or keep up with what the West can do and what the West can offer.
And one last point I want to make before we head to commercial break. Kevin Durant from the D.C. area, going to be a free agent pretty soon. Could he be heading to Washington Wizards?
I always forget about that. That would be a heck of a move if Washington were to land him.
To play alongside John Wall and Bradley Beal, that would be one heck of a combo.
All right, y'all. We love talking about sports, but we're going to have to send it to a commercial break real quick. We'll be right back up with some more music.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Brian and Dillon. And we played some of our music. We talked about basketball a little bit, so thanks for hanging with us. You can catch us next Thursday, once again, from 8 to 10 p.m., and we'll see you guys then.